doing things just to impress them. I know when a girl doesn't like skateboarding. I know when a girl doesn't like basketball. She's just saying it because she likes me. I like that. It's very complimentary though. I like that. It's cute. But seriously, like a lot of women, they lose themselves in relationships. But damn, Vicky, you play basketball now, not because you're dating Tyrone, you're playing football? Or now because you're dating Bob, you're into fucking accounting? Or like But you'll notice that some women, they just lose themselves. They'll do what the guy likes just because they want to impress a guy, right? And that's okay. I'm not judging you for it. But if you always have to change your personality just to impress the guy, that's a problem, because now he's gonna sense that there's nothing really there. There's just somebody who wants to be who you are. You know, like they just say, tell me who I am, tell me who I am. So they agree with everything you say. Those are just the yes people of the world. See what I'm saying? And the last thing is defensiveness is a cause of a bad personality. Notice how often you're defending yourself. Notice how often people offend you. Notice how often you're walking around in pain. Notice how often, notice the things that people do that will make you feel angry. Like for example, like if you're, let's say that you hate it when guys do this. So you're always watching out for guys not to do that. So that means you're always walking around defensive. You know, notice your pain spots. Notice when somebody touches that spot of your personality, or when somebody does a certain thing or puts you in a certain situation. Notice what happens. Do you get defensive? You may not notice it, but other people do. You know? And so by noticing those causes of a bad personality, like noticing when you get defensive and dropping it. For example, this is a perfect example. Have you ever talked to someone and you're noticing you're arguing with them, you don't even notice it? Like, fuck, we're really arguing here. Like, no. Like you're just talking to them, you're noticing that you're just in an argument. It's like being in a dream and not noticing when the dream started, but you just in the dream. You know? Like that happens a lot where people don't notice they're defensive until they notice they're defensive. You don't know you're stressed until you get home and you sit down on your sofa and you're like, fuck, that was a long day. Right? And the reason why that is because they walk around unconscious, in their heads, in their thoughts, trying to suppress, right, without facing what's in front of them. Making sense? Yeah. Defensiveness is a big disease. Oh, they're late. Yeah. So what is the cause of a good personality? Undefensiveness. You know? It enables you to accept new concepts and embrace the unknown. Very childlike. Something that I like to ask myself is this: maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, even about things that you're very certain about, right? So that's one thing. Being on defensive. Also, being on defensive lowers inhibition in others. And it opens them up to influence you. It opens them up to your own influence, right? So, for example, let me show you an example of being defensive. Let's say that I'm approaching a girl, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm approaching her, right? And part of me wants her, like me. So, hey, what's up, girl? It's like I'll notice that I talk louder. I'll notice that I laugh more. I notice that I agree more, right? What the fuck? I'm getting defensive. Right? You notice that you become more agreeable, but when you are undefensive, you don't mind that they dislike you. You don't mind that they may not call you back. You don't mind that they may like, if you see a negative reaction from them, you don't react to the negative reaction. You just remain still. See? And that happens a lot, and that's because if you're consistently looking to make people happy, you're always going to be defensive because you want people to make you happy, because the opposite of that, which is making them angry at you or making them not like you, causes you to lose some self-esteem. Make sense? Right? So being on defensive is all about being okay with what happens. If the person doesn't like me, fine. I'm okay with it. But sometimes you're not really okay with it. So when you know you're not really okay with it, then there's nothing you can do if you're not okay with it. And just have compassion for the fact that you cannot be okay with it. You just gotta go deep into the problem. If you're not okay with the fact that you're not okay with it, have compassion for the fact that you're not okay with it. And that'll loosen all those knots up. And literally having compassion just really puts down defensiveness. Not being afraid to feel pain is another part of your personality. Because you don't mind offending people. You say no, you say no. No. You know, like it's a no-no. Make sense? Having compassion for your own self, like I said. Fearlessness. It's attractive because it's different. Being present to the moment is another one. Forgiveness, which is children forget because of lack of ego, right? And so when you are present to the moment, you forget about the past. It's not that you forget what people did to you, right? Because, okay, that's big. Like, how do you forgive someone who hurt you? How do you, like, if somebody hurt you, how do you forgive them? Well, there is something called human nature. There's a part of you that struggles forgiving people. Now, that's where you come in. When you cannot control how you feel. What do you do about that? Nothing. You just have to have compassion for yourself. You cannot change. Seriously, there's some things about us that we cannot change. And so some people get bitter at that fact. You know? So what? Oh, I was about to say you. I thought it was someone new. I'm like, damn.
It was a bit longer than 15 minutes.
Don't worry about it. So another thing is, like I said, is forgiveness, right? So if somebody hurt you, or even if you made a lot of mistakes in life, a lot of times we carry our mistakes in our hearts. You know, we say, fuck, if I say this, the last time I said that, this person rejected me. You know? Or the last time I talked about this person rejected me. Right? And so that causes you to not really express yourself because you know that because of the past you did this and the person didn't like you. You know? And you gotta forgive yourself, especially for the mistakes you've done in the past, for the fuck-ups, for the failed relationships. You have to forgive yourself. And it's hard to forgive yourself. Because, like, what do you say? I forgive myself? How the fuck do you do that? But what I found out, guess what? Same word I've been saying. Have compassion for the fact you can't forgive yourself. Say it's okay. It's okay. You're friendly with yourself. It dissolves all of that bitterness away. Make sense? Children, that's why children are like that. Children are like that because they forget. I punched my friend in the face when I was a little kid and he liked it the next day. You can't do that now. Like, kids do that. Like, you know, you fight like that. It's because I told the kid that he was adopted. I was like, yeah, so you're adopted, Junior. And he just fucking clocked me a 2-piece, man. Dropped my ice cream. So another thing of a good personality is that you are tuned to the pleasures of life. You see them and you're more positive. In other words, when I say that you are tuned to the pleasures of life is that you are focusing on having fun. You're not focusing on trying to impress somebody. Like I said, there is how can I make them like me as opposed to how can I have fun right now? You know, let's say you're in an interview. Actually, no, don't do that. Let's say you're talking to your parents, right? If you ask, let me say that, if you have a bad relationship with your parents, and then you ask yourself, how can I have fun right now? You're going to meet a lot of resistance. Like, I swear to God, imagine talking to someone who you feel uncomfortable with. The thought of having fun around them requires you to let go of a lot of shit. You know? So by asking yourself, how can I have fun in this situation? You allow yourself to let go of a lot of emotional barriers that's not allowing you to have fun in the moment. Does that make sense? I say does that make sense a lot? Because I need to know that. You know? So another thing of a good personality is the ability to show weakness and innocence. You know? It's the ability to be okay with being wrong sometimes. The ability to show that you're weak sometimes. For example, I went out with this girl the other day, and I found that fascinating how she did this. She was like, by the way, I'm actually very narcissistic. I hate being wrong, and I can be stubborn sometimes. I'm like, fuck, you're hot. Like, what? Usually that's not the case. I'm like, tell me about this more, right? Yeah. Then she started talking about, anyways. But that was impressive. I'm like, that's like she wasn't trying to impress me. And that really got to me. I'm like, wow, that was I'm doing that next time. I'm doing that though. I'm really doing that. I learn a lot from girls that when something good happens, I'll learn from it. When she does something that makes me feel shitty, I'll learn from that too. I take notes. Like, if you're gonna hurt me, I better get paid for that, you know? But that's one thing. Being able to show weakness and be okay with it. See, people think just because you show weakness that you're going to lose people. It humanizes you. It shows that you're human. It allows people to relate to you. You know, weakness is all about showing that you have pain inside. And people relate to pain a lot more than they relate to the good things in your life. You know? It could be a little fucked up. I guess people will not. It's kind of like when you're in pain and you find out that other people are going through your own shit, you feel good. But you find out, let's say somebody broke up with you and then your friend also got dumped. You guys feel good. Oh, you got dumped. Like, no. Like, I'm not the only one, right? You Right? Yeah. The last thing about having a good personality is you have a curiosity for life. You have a sense of wonder. It's not just that you have this curiosity for understanding facts, but also that you don't actually know everything. You know, like you're curious about learning from everyone. You also want to know people. You're curious about people. And when you have natural compassion, you want to hear people's life story. You know what I'm saying? Compassion goes a long way, right? It's crazy. I was so guys, never mind. So steps towards having a good personality, right? Remove your inner blocks, your inhibitions. Notice the moments of pain, hesitation, and need. When you get a text from someone, notice that rush of adrenaline. And notice what you were feeling before that. You're feeling anxious. Notice when you post a status. Notice when you post a status and you get likes. What were you feeling before the likes? Were you looking for that? Was it a subtle grasping for the likes? And what happens when you got the likes? Did you relax? Were you relaxed after the likes? What thoughts arose when you got those likes? Like, what did you say to yourself? Oh, yes. Like, notice the little soliloquies, the little thoughts that arise. Like, notice the moments of needs. Notice when you're talking to someone and they make you feel insecure. Notice how that feels. When you're talking to your boss, notice how your personality changes. It's just awareness. An awareness of when you fluctuate. And you'll notice that you act confident around certain people, and when you're around certain people, you don't act confident. You know? And by noticing those things, it loses the grip it once had of you. Because it controls you as long as it remains unconscious. But when you become conscious of it, it may not change now. Who knows? But it's the beginning of the end. You know? So that's why when I talk to guys, when I teach guys how to approach women, the first thing I do is I tell them, go approach and see what happens. Go approach and notice what's going on inside of you. Notice the thoughts and emotions. Get comfortable with feeling uncomfortable. And once you get comfortable with feeling uncomfortable, now you can learn tactics. Now you can learn how to tease a girl. Now you can learn how to push pull. But without having a clear mind, none of this will work because it'll look uncalibrated. You know. So notice defensiveness. Also notice defensiveness. For example, when you're arguing with someone, notice your own bias. Notice the point you want to get across. Notice the moment. Notice what you're trying to defend. Notice what happens when you're wrong. Also, just notice those things that are unconscious. That's how you know yourself. You don't know yourself by knowing this or that. You know yourself by noticing your reactions and knowing your reactions. Knowing when you're weak and when you're strong. That's knowing yourself because that's actually good information. I don't give a fuck if I know that I have my side, I have a 9.5 shoe. I don't give a fuck. That's knowing about myself, but that doesn't really help. Really knowing yourself is knowing your emotional reaction because we're emotional creatures. The sad part is that most people don't know themselves because they're always walking suppressed. They're always not trying to feel whatever is arising. And so they live a life and their emotions are suppressed and they don't know themselves. You know, that's why they don't even know what they want in life. They don't know their values, they don't know their goals. They think they want their goals because once you achieve their goal, you notice that you didn't really want that. It's because somebody else wanted it for you. You know? Make sense? Another thing is dropping the past and letting go of expectations. For example, like when I'm gonna go on a date with a girl, I'm noticing what happens if she cancels. I will notice if there's a reaction in my heart. I will notice, would I get angry or am I okay with it? 99% of the time I'll get angry, right? But I'm aware of that. Like I'm aware of that. And now if she does say I won't make it, I'm okay with it. Maybe. Right? But that's the thing is that a lot of people walk around without knowing that they need this to happen. Right? And so they go on and once something goes wrong, they panic. Like, fuck, this is not supposed to happen. This is not supposed to happen. Does that make sense? Yeah, and you just gotta notice the little subtle thoughts, subtle voices, because they're very low. They're very low, but the reason you can't hear them is because you're being distracted by very nuanced thoughts that just really don't help. You know? Another thing is self-acceptance, the good and the bad, by having compassion for yourself, meditating with compassion, meditating and saying yes to yourself, smiling at yourself, being friendly with yourself. Motherfuckers need to be friendly with themselves a little bit more often. You know, they're too mean. They're too mean to themselves. Like it's okay to fail, but like nothing's wrong with not getting the results you want. Nothing's wrong with being a loser in life. It's true. Nothing wrong with that. Like just be okay with the fact that you're a loser. Are you listening? Seriously, because for example, like think about a group of nerds, right? I remember like A nerd who is okay with being a nerd will love their friends. A nerd who thinks he's a loser is using their friends as pedestal to the cooler friends. Some nerdy friends see themselves as cool because they love themselves and they're okay with who they are. But if the nerdy friends think they're losers, what's really going on is that they really are rejecting each other. And when they hang out, they don't focus on each other, they focus on the cool people. Right? But if you are a loser, you have to be okay with it and accept who you are in this moment. When you accept that you're a loser, then you can actually change and not be a loser. But you first have to accept who you are. If you want to change, you gotta accept who you are in this moment. Because if you don't accept who you are in this moment, that just means you are afraid of accepting it because you think that's who you will always be. But if you know that you could change, if you know that you have this ability to change, what happens is that when you see a flaw in you, you don't panic. You just say, okay, time to change. You grow. It's okay. But if you think you're always going to be like that, that's why you don't see those negative flaws, because you think that's just who you are and that's who you always be. Make sense? Yeah. So another one is the self-image towards having a great personality. Have you guys ever read the book Psycho-Cybernetics?
I did.
Yeah, good book, right?
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah. And something that it says is that the self-image, which is how you see yourself. How you see yourself is how you act. If you're a basketball player, you see yourself as a basketball player, you're naturally going to see yourself playing basketball. So you're naturally going to do what? Want to play basketball, right? If someone who's good at business, how do you think they see themselves? As a good business person. And they see that image of themselves as being a good business person, right? Someone who is a good mother see themselves as a good mother. See that in their minds, right? And so when you see yourself as a negative person, what's really going on? See yourself as a negative person. That's beauty. Is that self-image can easily be changed. Just begin seeing yourself as a person you want to be. It may not change now, but slowly but surely, your reality will match the image that you have. You just got to give it time. You got to give your body time to catch up with your mind. Just keep feeding into that. Sure, you may not get, for example, I stopped going to the gym for like 3 months, right? And so I was like, fuck, I need to go to the gym. What did I do? I just began imagining myself going to the gym. Sure, it didn't work the first month. Sure, it didn't work the second month. I just kept seeing myself going to the gym. And then something happened, and now suddenly I'm going to the gym more often. And the reason why is because I just kept seeing that image, me going to the gym consistently and enjoying it. And your body will naturally get the point. You know, it'll get the point of what you want. You don't tell your body, work out. No, you just give your body that image. Your body works in symbols. That's how it listens to you. You know, you give it a symbol to an image and it'll make that happen. You just got to keep giving it that signal. Does that make sense? The other one is, step towards having a great personality is see others with compassion. Meditate if you have a cold heart. Right? Because I know some people have a cold heart. 1 in 100 people cannot feel compassion. So if you cannot feel compassion, whoever you are, just meditate. When you meditate, you actually create gray matter in your brain, which enables you to actually feel some goddamn compassion for once. You know? Damn, I don't should do that. Anyway, so how do you beat yourself? We all have good. Oh, repeating myself. So we all have a good personality, right? The uninhibited self that you were born with, but as you grew up, you became jaded and boundaries were set, right? So notice the judgment and hesitation. Notice your own boundaries. Notice your own boundaries. Attack your fears by experiencing them. That's another thing. Notice what you fear the most and actually go and experience it proactively. You know, if you're someone who hates being alone, be alone. I don't know about that. Talk. Like I'm breaking down. I was like, oh shit, he's breaking down, guys. Seriously, that's my limitation, right? But that's my spiritual practice, right? If you hate being around people, be around people. Expose your body to that. Let your body become relaxed in that. So, and that's how you do it. Another thing is hone in on the emotion of fun. That's another part. Consistently ask yourself, how can I have fun? This is actually a big question. You gotta ask yourself that. It makes your mind, because that's what children think. How can I have fun? How can I have fun? Let me play with this, let me play with that. But if your life and the brutality of life has inhibited you, it's very hard to think about having fun. You gotta make the effort to let go of the adult exterior and actually learn to express yourself. It's gonna be hard in the beginning, but have compassion for the fact that you suck at it, you know? And then slowly but surely, you're gonna get better at it. And what you're gonna notice is that people are gonna tell you, hey, you've been more relaxed lately. Maybe that vein that usually pops in your head is not there that much. Those people get angry, the face pop. It's funny, right? Another thing is use the pain in your life and attack the pain by observing the pain and going towards the pain and running away from the pain. The observance will liberate you because you were avoiding it in the past. You go towards the pain and you have compassion for your pain. You soothe that pain. You know, you love that pain. You ask the pain to go eat with you and you just become nice and friendly with it. And there's no way that you're going to suffer as a result of it. You know, if you're shy, be extroverted. And don't be afraid to fuck it up. If you're overly social, learn how to be okay with not talking to people and slowing down. You know, so if you're someone who's very social, shut the fuck up. You know, learn how to be like, notice how it feels like to get somebody else's spotlight. You got to notice that. Notice what arises. Notice what you're missing. Notice what you want people to think of you, right? Fucking shit. It's full. Oh, be present. But and that's how you do it, right? And so then that's something that most people think is that I'm a social person, I'm good. No, actually, what happens if you're not social? Try that. Now you notice that. Now you notice that there's actually a part of you that was actually in pain, and you just didn't notice it because you actually constructed your life in such a way that you're not going to experience that pain. So put yourself in those situations that you fear the most, and experience it with conscious awareness and compassion. It's going to suck, but then you're going to feel comfortable with it, and that's how you grow. That's how the cookie crumbles. That's it. Yeah, it was fun, very fun. You guys liked it?
Yes.
It was. I'll be honest with you. I didn't follow the script that much. I really didn't. It's usually it was a little bit different. I'll be curious to see how it sounds. But yeah, you guys. I think it's much better because that's one part that I really forgot in all the seminars is the compassion part. Because most people will experience pain, but it's like, what the fuck do I do with this pain? It sucks. It's kind of like, damn. Like when you notice that you cannot change, that's what most people say. They struggle applying this. Like, what do I do when I cannot change? Right? Like I can't change. What am I gonna do now? Okay, are you gonna feel helpless? Are you gonna feel bitter? Or are you going to understand that your body needs some time to catch up with your mind? And when you just have compassion for yourself, you allow your body to learn faster. You know, and it's time to learn. You know? Yeah. Any questions? Good. Good. That means it was good. Yeah. Nice. What's up?
2 things. This was so good. I feel like you should have read a book.
I am writing a book.
You are.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Because and the exercises that you were talking about, like the compassion, like I meditate a lot, but like just looking at something with compassion, I don't know where did you get that from, somewhere?
No, I mean,
you got that from?
I was just one day walking and I was like, what would happen if I just look? Because I was practicing pickup, talking to girls. And then I was like, what would happen if I, rather than looking at girls with compassion, right? What happens if I would just walk around the streets and look at every object with compassion? So I would notice, I would look at a pole, and whatever object was in my awareness, I would just make the effort to do it. And what I noticed after like 5 blocks, like I was extremely happy. And I was like, wow, I just never thought about it until many years later, reading the book Radical Acceptance. And I started applying it like last month. And I was like, oh wow, interesting. And yeah, I know what you mean.